Hello, I'm Robert Cochrane, a take-to-market specialist at Scottish Widows, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Maria Nazarova-Doyle, Head of Pensions Investments at Scottish Widows. Maria is going to be talking to us about ESG investments. Now, Maria, there's a lot of focus on ESG at the moment. It's high on the agenda at Scottish Widows, and they've made a clear pledge to be a responsible investor. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes, absolutely. So at Scottish Widows, we're in a privileged position of being one of UK's largest asset owners, and we're entrusted with secured financial futures for millions of customers. And those customers will invest with us for decades. So those risks that are potentially only on the horizon will likely play out if we don't take action. So we work really hard to be a responsible investor on our customers' behalf. And what this really means is that we look at financially material ESG, environmental, social and governance factors, and bring them into our investment decision-making process. And this leads to us protecting the investments on the downside from some of those financially material ESG risks, but also allows us to capitalize on some of the emerging opportunities in the space.
Okay, and sounds great. Can you give us some examples of where that might come into play?
Yeah, one really good one would be climate change, which is probably the biggest systemic risks that humanity and financial services industry have ever faced. And it brings about both risks and opportunities with it. So we are currently looking at our portfolios to understand the carbon footprint, to understand how well we are positioned for the transition to a lower carbon economy, and to understand the risk that we are running in relation to things like stranded assets, for example. At the same time, climate change brings about these new emerging opportunities in technology, renewable energy, infrastructure that will be required for the transition. And these are all potentially really good investments to look at to try and get some additional gains. And the one thing I want to make very clear is that Scottish Widows' mission is very much about securing those financial futures for our customers. So we're very much about the investment returns. So we just believe that we can do our job that much better by integrating ESG factors into our considerations.
You've introduced a refreshed responsible investment and stewardship framework. Can you tell us why you've done that now?
We have been a signatory to UN Principles for Responsible Investment for almost 10 years now. And actually, the first generation framework for responsible investments for Scottish Widows was launched in 2016. And across the whole of Lloyds Banking Group, there's a real clear focus on sustainability. But what we're doing now is we want to commit to the market and to our customers on the kind of investor that we want to be. We have such huge size and scale that we really should be using it to bring about positive change in the companies that we invest in, with the view of enhancing investment returns for our customers. So in short, I would describe it as not a wedding, but a vows renewal, where we are now taking this opportunity to recommit to being a responsible investor and to also pledge to be clearer, go further and be bolder.
So that's some pretty clear commitments. So how will these commitments and principles translate into action?
So we will be looking to strengthen future risk-adjusted returns by taking out and effectively excluding companies that we feel pose too much risk for our portfolios. Also, where we believe we can influence corporate behavior, we will work closely with our partner investment managers and also with industry-wide shareholder groups to engage with those companies and to try and influence the positive change. We will also be allocating a proportion of our pension defaults to a new fund that is specifically designed to favor companies that are making good progress on transitioning to a lower carbon economy. And particularly for our customers, we'll be looking at the customer fund range that we now have to add additional choices so that they can align their views and beliefs with their investments. We're increasingly starting to notice that people care more and more about issues like climate change, the environment, diversity, and so on. So we want to empower people and to give them the tools to support causes that are close to their hearts, but at the same time save for the future.
Okay, thanks Maria. Sounds like exciting times at Scottish Widows, a renewed commitment and some new changes on the horizon. I'm sure we'll be back to talk about this more.
Yes, absolutely. Watch this space.